And then now I'll start braking, and then I'm gonna have to brake hard to stop, because otherwise I'll crash into this van. The clutch down, and then you see the car goes forward straight away, and then they think, oh, it's too fast, let me dip it down again. And then it's rocking back and forth. You're not going anywhere, and it's not really controlled. So these are 10 of the hardest things to do in a manual car. Let me show you how to do them properly. Let's go. So moving out from behind another vehicle like this, and when you're quite close, is quite tricky to do. And if you don't do it properly, you can end up hitting this car in front of us, getting too close to it, or going too far towards the other way. Let me show you the wrong way first. So let's say I'm ready to move off now, and I want to go into that road. So what some learners will do is once they're ready to move, they'll lift the clutch up really high and then end up getting really close to the car in front. Or they might do the first bit correctly and then lift the clutch up really high now and then end up going really wide to the other side of the road. Again, not ideal. So to do this properly, you need to control your clutch and control your steering. The key is not to bring the clutch up too high, maybe even bring it down a little bit. Let me show you. So I'm trying to go around this car here, and I've done my checks. So earlier I brought my clutch up too high, but now I'm gonna bring it just around the biting point and then bring it down a little bit. And my steering wheel's turned all the way to the right as well, and I keep checking. Yeah, so you need to notice I'm going up and down on the clutch. And then now, some learners will bring the clutch up here, and then it's gonna go too far that way. But instead, I'm still controlling it, just using my clutch. And then once I get the car straight like here, then I can bring the clutch up smoothly and drive on again. So that way, it's a lot more controlled, and I don't risk crashing into the car in front or going too far towards the wrong side of the road. So right now we're on a very steep hill, and this is something that lots of people struggle with, to move off on a hill. And this is some of the ways that you do it wrong. Right now I'm in first gear, and if I want to move now, I should have my biting point on, but a lot of learners will have their clutch down, and then they'll release the handbrake, and then you see the car starts rolling back, and then they're thinking, why is it not moving forward? It's because the clutch is not in the right place. It's not at the biting point, so there's nothing pushing it forward. So to prevent that from happening, what you should do is make sure you get your biting point first. So you got my handbrake on, I've got my biting point first. So now when I see the car dip down like this, so the back of the car is dipping down like this, I know there's enough power to move forward once I've released the handbrake. So bring the clutch up to until the car dips this way. When I'm check around now and I release my handbrake, you see the car goes forward. Another mistake that learners make on this kind of hill is they bring the clutch up way too early and too fast. So once you start moving, what they'll do is they'll start moving like this and then think, oh yeah, it's time for me to move, and then the car stalls and you can get in all sorts of trouble. The key here is to hold the clutch for a while your car's moving off up the hill. Between 3 and 5 seconds is ideal. Let me show you what I mean. So last time I came off straight away, but this time, once I start moving, you see I'm gonna hold the clutch 1, 2, 3, 4, and then slowly 5. Now it's all the way up. That way, it's not gonna stall, it's not gonna jerk, and it's gonna be very smooth going up the hill as well. So right now I'm in third gear, and I want to turn left soon. Now this is the wrong way of gearing down before you turn. So I'm gonna check my mirrors and signal left, and you notice I've not done anything about it yet. I'm leaving everything really late to think about gearing down. Only now I'm thinking about, okay, I need to gear down, and by then it's too late, and I'm gonna struggle to do the turn and gear down on the turn as well. Instead, if you do things much earlier, it's gonna be a lot safer and a lot smoother. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm in third gear again, but this time I'm gonna gear down nice and early. I'm turning the next left. If you're in third gear, most of the time you can't turn in third gear, so you need to gear down to second before the turn. And then once I get closer, because I'm going slowly enough now, I've got time to decide, okay, I actually need first gear for this. So I'm going to first because it's really sharp and there are pedestrians in the way as well. So that way I can go into first, go nice and slowly. It's way more controlled that way when you do things nice and early instead of doing everything at the last minute. So when it comes to reversing, it should be done really slowly and controlled. And some people find this hard to do. Let me show you. So when I'm reversing now, what you might find is a learner will bring the clutch to the biting point like here and then just leave it there like this. And you see when you do that, the car picks up speed and it's gonna go too fast. It's because when you lift it up that high and you leave it there, the car's gonna go really quick. The easiest way to control your speed in reverse is to be around the biting point and then give it a bit of power and then cut the power off. Give it a bit of power and then cut the power off. Clutch just at the biting point, like there, and then down a little bit if it's going too quick. and then look around, make sure it's safe, wait for this person to go past. Once they've gone, up a little bit and then down. Yeah, up a little bit and then down. As soon as you feel the car going a bit quick, don't just go straight for the brake, because that's what some people do as well. They'll feel the car going fast and then straight away go for the brake, and then now it's like the car is fighting, the clutch is fighting the brake, and you can feel lots of vibration in the car, and they're thinking, what's going on? Why is it not sounding right? It's because your clutch is too high up. You should bring the clutch down. First, try to control your speed with your clutch, and then if it's going too fast, even with your clutch down, then use your brake. But you shouldn't be using your brake if your clutch is like all the way up here, because you're making the car fight itself, and it's a lot of strain on the braking system and on the clutch. When it comes to gearing up, you can do it quite jerkily if you're not careful. So some learners will do it like this, and then bring the clutch up, and it's jerking, and they think, why is it doing that? It's because of the way you bring the clutch up. If you bring the clutch up too fast, the car is going to be really jerky. The smoothest way is to, once you decide to change, second, bring the clutch up smoothly, and then add the gas. Another thing that learners find difficult to do is making small moves forward. So there's creeping up to this space here. Let's say I'm trying to close the space between me and this car just a little bit. What you see some learners do is they'll go too much like this and then end up getting way too close. So to creep forward a little bit, all you need to do is bring the clutch up a little bit and then down again straight away. You see the car rolls forward. So just a little bit up and then down again straight away. That way you can go forward a little bit without going too far forward into this car. So right now I'm next to a 40-mile-an-hour road, and I'm going to try to join it, and a lot of learners struggle with picking up speed quickly. Let me show you the wrong way first, then I'll show you the right way to do it. So what you see some learners do is once they join, they'll go straight to second gear, and then again straight to third. See, the RPMs are quite low, then they go to fourth. See, like this is taking me a long time to build up my speed, and if someone was coming behind me, right now there's no one there, but if someone was coming behind me, they'll get quite close to me very quickly. Now the correct way to do it is to stay in the lower gears for much longer and using lots more power from those gears to accelerate. So this time, once I join the dual carriageway, I'm going to stay in the lower gears for a lot longer and pick up speed quicker. Yeah, so now that I've joined, add lots of gas in second. Watch the RPMs go all the way up to 4,000 into second. Put lots of gas again, RPMs really high. And then now, you see that way, if anyone was behind me, they're not going to get too close to me because I can pick up my speed really fast. We're on a hill, but this time we're reversing up the hill. So this is another one that people find hard to do as well, because reversing uphill in a controlled way is really tricky. Let me show you. So what a lot of learners will do is when they're reversing, first of all, they might roll forward like this because they haven't got the biting point. So before you release your handbrake, make sure first of all that you have the biting point. That way when you release the brake, the handbrake, you see the car goes in the right direction. Another mistake that people make here is when they're trying to control how fast they're going, and then you're dipping down the clutch too low and the car is rolling back and forth. Let me show you. So let's say you got the first bit right, but then you're trying to go slowly, so you dip the clutch down and then you see the car goes forward straight away, and then they think, oh, it's too fast, let me dip it down again, and then it's rocking back and forth. You're not going anywhere and it's not really controlled, because as soon as you put your clutch down, there's nothing stopping the car from rolling down the hill anymore. The correct way to do this is not to bring the clutch down so low when you're trying to slow down. Let me show you. So now, when I'm trying to slow down a bit, let's say I'm going a bit too quick, like now, I'll bring the clutch down a little bit and then around the biting point and then up again and then down. So you notice this time my clutch is not going all the way down, because if I do that, if I bring it all the way down, it goes forward because there's nothing stopping it from going forward. But this time instead, just down a little bit, up again, down a bit, up again, looking back behind me as well. So minimal movement, and then once I'm done, I'll brake, clutch down, handbrake on neutral. So right now I'm in fourth gear, and something that a lot of learners struggle with is gearing down from a high speed like this and going into a lower gear before the turn. So like we're going to turn left soon, and I can't do that in fourth gear, so I'm going to have to gear down to second, maybe even first. Let me show you the wrong way first. So we're going to go take the next left after this one, so mirror, mirror, signal. So I'm still in fourth. What they'll do is they'll leave it quite late, and then if I try to turn now in fourth, see, I had to press my clutch down there because it was starting to shake. It was almost stalling there. Not ideal for this time. I'm going to signal now and slow down nice and early, and then by the time I get to around here, I'm already going to be in second, bring my clutch up smoothly while I'm still braking, and then now I can turn in second gear nicely. So braking smoothly is something that lots of learners struggle with. So right now I'm not braking at the moment, and then now I'll start braking, and then I'm going to have to brake hard to stop because otherwise I'll crash into this van. So the first mistake I made was braking really late because I'm coming to a stop. There's lots of traffic everywhere, so there's no need for me to not brake early. The second mistake I made was keeping my foot on the brake hard as I came to a stop. So to make it smooth, you need to brake early, and then also just before you stop, come off the brake slightly, and that'll make it really soft. I'll show you what I mean. So this time, once I know I'm gonna have to come to a stop, I can see red lights up ahead. So I'm gonna start reducing my speed nice and early, which is the mistake I made before. I would slow down way too late. Then I'm braking early as well. Then around here, I'll put my clutch down before the car starts to vibrate. So nice and early. And then just before I come to a full stop, I'll ease off the brake a tiny bit and then back on again. That way you don't get that sharp stop. And this technique can work even if you realize kind of late that you need to stop, or something happens in front of you that you need to stop for quickly. You can still make it really smooth. Let me show you what I mean. So let's say the bus is stopping, but then I realize a little bit late. I can still stop gently by braking now, and then clutch down, and then just before coming to a stop, I can ease off the brake. That way it's still smooth. So if you ease off the brake just a tiny bit before you come to a full stop, it's always going to be a nice soft stop. But the best way to do it is to brake early in the first place so that people around you know that you're slowing down, and also it's going to be a lot smoother as you come to a full stop as well if you brake nice and early.